Decentralized identity management system is one of the most talked about things in the Web3 ecosystem right now, and it is increasingly gaining momentum because of its relevance to the growth of the entire ecosystem. And personally, I think users having the ability to not just create but also manage their identity on decentralized infrastructure is not just going to change this game for how they use this application, but for also how we build them as developers. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to build one using Ceramic protocol. Before we get into it, let me show you a quick demo of what we're going to be building today. So here we have a simple Next.js application, and by the way, the entire user interface of this application was generated using ChatGPT. Of course, I had to write my own functionalities and also do the integration, but here to save time, I generated the interface using ChatGPT. Anyways, back to the demo. So here we have a simple application with a sign in with Ethereum button. We're just going to go ahead and click that. It's going to ask us to connect our wallet to the application, and after that, we'll have to sign a message to check if we have an account already. And if we don't, it's going to ask us to create one. So this is a new account. We don't have any details there already, so it's going to ask us to create one. And here we're going to have to enter our name. Let's say Joshua, and country, let's say Dubai. And let's say role devrel. And the image URL, I'm just going to go ahead and copy this image URL, and paste there. And we're going to click on sign up. This is going to take these details and create an account for us, and also attach these details to our wallet address. So whenever we get to use any application that has integrated Ceramic into their application, we're just going to have our data pulled in automatically into their own application, and we don't need to do the manual signing up again. And the good thing about this is that you can modify it, update it at any time using something like this we are going to build today. So here we have our data loaded, and we are going to go ahead and go back to the landing page and sign in again and see how it pulls our data. So we're going to go ahead and click on sign in. It's going to do the same flow again, check if we already have an account, and also pull our data if we already have one. Here we can also edit our data. Let's say we want to change our country to USA. We can do that and click update. So you're also going to take this new info and attach it to our DID, our decentralized ID. And after that, we're going to see that our country is now updated to USA. So we're going to be building this in this video. To successfully follow along in this project as well, we're going to be needing two main technologies, which are Ceramic protocol and Next.js. Right? For those of you who don't know what Ceramic protocol is, don't worry, I'll make a separate video explaining what it is, different solutions they provide, and how you can leverage them. But for the meantime, I'll put the link to their website in the description. And also, you need to understand the basics of JavaScript to also follow along in this project successfully. You can use even vanilla.js to create this if you understand the basics of JavaScript, or any JavaScript front-end framework of your choice. You can literally build it, but for this we are using Next.js. But you can go ahead and copy the code. I'll also put the link to the GitHub in the description. You can copy the code and just follow along to get an understanding of what we're doing. That being said, let's head straight into the installation. First thing we're going to need is to create our application using Next.js. So for that, I'm just going to move into the directory where I want to create this, and I'm going to run the command npm create next app, and we're going to pass in the name of our application. So we're just going to call it DID, so decentralized identity, or whatever you choose to call yours. So our create, we need to, let's say something, need to put E, yeah. So we're going to go ahead and hit enter on our keyboard. So we're going to wait for that to install, and this usually takes seconds depending on your internet speed and your computer power. So let's go ahead and so here we have our application successfully created. So we're going to need to be installing packages that are going to enable us leverage Ceramic protocol. So I'm going to go ahead and copy these libraries or packages, and I'm going to go ahead and do npm install. I'm also going to put it in the description so it's easier for you guys to just copy and install as well. So I'm going to do npm install. I'm going to paste these packages. So it takes a couple of seconds, like I said initially, depending on your internet speed and also your computer power. So we're just going to wait for that to load. Sorry, I made a mistake. We have to change directly into our project, the project we just created. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that and install the package again. So I'm going to cd did, and we're now going to run the previous command, which is npm install these packages, right? So now we are in the directory. We need to now install these packages that we need. We're going to wait for that to install, and all right, so now we have our packages successfully installed. So next thing we need to do is now diving into the actual work, writing the code. And this is the fun part of it, guys. So let's go ahead, and you can basically open VS Code anyhow you want. Usually I run this command, code enter inside the directory, and it opens the VS Code for me for that particular project. So here, let's just go ahead and have a look at what we currently have. So we have a simple Next.js boilerplate code with our inbuilt routing and basically folder structure that we need. So we have our package.json, and our package.json will have these libraries, dependencies we're going to be using to build out our application. And next thing we're going to do, let's just run this application as it is and see what we have currently. Let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to first go to the npm run dev, hit enter. So here now we're going to notice our application is already running. So let's just, this was from our demo, so let's just, so this, like I told you guys earlier, this is just a simple Next.js boilerplate that we need. Well, not like we need, sorry about that, we don't need it, just we need the folder structure. We're just going to go ahead and delete every single thing inside this page under index.js, and for us to do that, we're going to, it's very simple, let's go ahead and delete all these, including the header, the main, and just write hello for now. Let's just leave it at hello. And let's see if we're also going to be needing to delete anything else. Yeah, I don't think we don't need this CSS again, so we're going to delete this particular one, and we're also going to think that should be it for now. Yeah, all right, so the next thing we're going to do to save time, yeah, I'm going to have to copy some of the code I've already written for our demo project and just paste it here, mostly the UI code. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the global CSS, the landing page, the sign up, and the user profile. So let's go ahead and copy that, then paste here. So it's going to replace our current global CSS. Wait, let's just replace the original one. Let's just delete that and then change this from copy to just global.css. Right, so here in our landing page, you can basically use SCSS or CSS, anyone you like. I was using SCSS here because I needed to do some specific image targeting. Anyways, like I said, I'm not going to be paying so much attention to the user interface. I'm just going to be paying attention to the functionalities. So you can just copy this code and paste, or you can even, I'll recommend you create your own interface, you know, make your own magic. Anyways, so here we have like simple CSS code just to style our button, the subtitle, the title, and align our contents in the landing page, in the profile the same. Anyways, let's go ahead and also copy the do we need to copy another thing? Okay, let's just move back to our index.js here and go back to our browser. Let's see, I think we'll have a problem here. So it says home.moji.css. Where does not, is it where? Okay, start at home, no such file. Okay, let's go ahead and see where, and look for where it is trying to use home.moji.css, and I think this should be that. We're also going to delete this as well, since we're no longer making use of them. And the inter, I think we also need to delete this. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and delete this. Let's go back to our application. Yeah, so here we have just a simple blank page with literally hello, and I'm going to go ahead and copy the imports, not mine, the imports, and I'm going to go ahead and copy the imports and paste here. Don't worry, we're going to be using every single thing here in just a minute. Then I'm also going to let's see. I'm also going to copy the JSX, so just pay attention to the functionality. So I'm just going to copy this JSX, and yeah. So yeah, so let's run our application again and see. So okay, exactly. So now we're getting some errors due to some of the packages we are depending on that I've not already created. So not packages anyways, like the utility file. So I'm going to go ahead and comment these ones out that we're not using at the moment. I just want us to see what our application looks like. Say button handle. Okay, we're just going to also comment that let's just remove the functionality for now. We're going to put it back in a bit. Let's say any other problem. Loading. Anyway, let's go ahead and create that. So for us to create that, we're going to use state const loading, small l, small l, const loading, set loading. I'm going to do equals to use states. Initially nothing loads, so it's to be false. So let's go ahead and test our application. Yeah, so here we'll have the same interface during the demo, right, with no functionality. So if you click on this, nothing happens at the moment, right? So just have this simple page. So we're going to go ahead and start the functionality for this particular page. So for us to do that, we have to, let's start with uncommenting the utility. Start with uncommenting the utility file, because we're going to go ahead and create that now. And so to do that, we're going to just create a utility folder inside our source directory. So we're just going to call it util, and inside it we're now going to create a file called did util, that is did utility .js. So here we're going to write the functions that we're going to reuse in other components here or other pages here, so that we just have to import them wherever we need them, so we don't have to be creating them at every instance where we need to use them, right? So the first we are going to be creating is the function for handling click. So the function that's going to handle our guest data is going to encapsulate what actually reads data from Ceramic, right? So it's going to try to read data with our wallet address to Ceramic. So we're going to abstract all these functions. Instead of having them inside this page, it's going to make our page look bloated and very, very difficult to manage. So we're going to abstract it to a different file. So anyways, let's go ahead and create our handle get started functionality. So for that, we're going to do for that, I'm going to do const handle get started is equal to async. It's going to be an asynchronous function, and we're going to, sorry, oh my god, we're going to use an arrow function as well. And here, inside here, we can just for now do log, consider log hello, and link this up to our application. So here we have inside our button, we're going to have on click, and you're going to have this click to run this handle get started. Alright, so I noticed there's a typo in our spelling, so I'm just going to go ahead and change that here. Handle is A before N, not the other way. So I'm going to go ahead and update that here as well. So here what we want to do is when someone clicks on get started or signing in with Ethereum, right, or handle sign, you can just name this function anything, right? So what we want to do is to basically make a request to Ceramic to see if they have an account. If they do, we'll get their data, their details, and populate it on our application, else we'll ask them to create one. So, and to do that, we are going to, since we already have our packages installed, we are going to now, first of all, let's set our loading to true. Let's set loading to true. I'm also going to be pasting a couple of codes here and explain them just to save time, since I've already written them before. So we're just going to set our loading true to handle states for our button, just to toggle the text that displays. And next thing we're going to do is that we're going to get profile from ceramic. That's the name of the function. So this get profile from ceramic is going to actually make the request. So we're going to have this function in the utility file in a couple of minutes. So it's going to make requests to ceramic network. But anyways, for now we have, and if we actually get something returned, so we're going to, let me go ahead and paste this code. So here, if we have like a profile return, right, if it's not equal to undefined, so what we want to do for this first one, of course there are easier ways and better ways to write this section of the code. I'm not paying attention to industry standard right now. I'm just trying to get this to work for you guys. So, but anyways, you can just figure this out anyways. So if you want to log the profile when you get it, if you just want to log it to the console, if you want to make a request on that API with the data you're getting from there, it's totally up to you. For this, I just want to populate it to our user info, right? So, and this user info is also created inside my utility file, right? So I also made use of it other places in this application. So that's why I'm having it in our utility file, so we can just access it anyway. So here I'm just updating it when I get this information, right? So if it is not equal to undefined, right, then run this other function inside. So if it's also not equal to null, right, so sometimes it's there but there is no information, right? So if it's not equal to null, this is when like there's no details in the accounts, right? So what we have to do is to now populate this data. What we have to do now is to populate this data, right? So here we have user info dot name is now equals to the profile we are just getting dot name. If this is like conditions check if this exists. Anyways, you can just, there are different ways to do this, just like I mentioned earlier. So here we're going to populate all this data we need. So we don't need this gender for now, so we just need our name, country, row, and avatar, right? So this is the initial one we had. So we're just going to have this our avatar, our row, the country, and name, right? So we're just going to go ahead and after that send the user to our profile. That is if their account or actually exists, but if they don't, we are going to send them to the sign up page, right? So, and just so you guys understand the simple logic here, so if the profile is actually not null, if it's not null, we actually that means we are getting something. So we populate this whatever data we are getting from the ceramic account to our user state, our user info state, and push them to the profile page, right? So where they get to actually view this their details, and also set loading first. Else that means they don't have an account, so send them back to sign up page, right, for them to actually do the sign up. All right, so we're going to go ahead. Let me uncomment this router. This is an inbuilt router from Next.js, so it's going to actually send. And one cool thing about Next.js is that I don't have to do like so many complex things to have route user to another page, right? So we just have to create the file as I just have to create the route as a file inside my pages folder. So we're just going to go ahead and create, since we're sending them to profile, I'm going to go ahead and create the profile and the sign up page at once. So I already have those created here, so I'm just going to, okay, I think I should just create it just to walk you guys through it as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and create that. Say profile.js. You can do JSX or anything you want, so but for now I'm just going to leave it at JS, and you know what, let's just make it JSX. Let's make it JSX. Okay, .jsx. I'm also going to create sign up .jsx as well. Then I guess that will be it for now. Then the other thing, okay, so here we have to, since we're setting them to the profile initially, that's assuming they have an account, so we're going to create the profile page. So to do that, I'm just going to also go ahead and copy this code from here and paste, then explain to you guys, since there's not a lot of functionality going on here. I'm just UI stuff. So here we have we're no longer using this use state, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove it. So here we have style from our profile, the same style we've already imported or created. So here we have our profile style, so it's just going to go ahead and read our styles from that file. And here we have our router to actually send user to sign up, right? In this profile page, you're also giving the user opportunity or permission to update their data, right? So when they want to update that, edit their data, so we're going to send them to the sign up page, and I'm just setting this again. I have this edit mode in my utility file. There are other ways that I need to reiterate this. There are other ways to do state management, better ways to do state management, but for this app, since the demo app, I'm just getting this entire UI to work. They will pay more attention to the functionality that I keep saying. So here I'm just going to set the edit mode to true. This enables me to toggle the text. So when you're trying to create an account, it's a different interface, not like an entire different interface, right? So you get some text like you don't have an account, create one. So but when you already have an account, what you want to do is to just update, right? So it wouldn't make sense to still have create an account in an edit page. So I'm just using this edit mode to toggle those texts, and yeah. So we're going to also send the user, like I mentioned, send the user to the sign up page. This, you can just make this an edit page or anything else, but for me, I'm just going to reuse that component, that sign up page myself. So here we have some text, and this user info, just like I told you guys, I'm also getting this from the utility. So what happens from the sign up is that when you sign up, or sorry, what happens from the landing page is that when you click on get started, or when you click on sign in with Ethereum, when you're signing actually, so it makes that request and check if you already have an account. If you don't have an account, it asks you to create one by sending you to the sign up page, right? But if you already have one, it gets your details here, it gets your details and populates the user info in our utility file, populates it with these details. So now we can make use of this data anywhere else, like we are making use of it here in our profile page. So we're just importing the user info objects, and here we are accessing these particular details we need from them. We're accessing the avatar, the name, the role, and the country, right? So I'm also going to, this is just to handle this edits here, just like I've already explained this anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and create the sign up page. I'm going to explain what is going on here. I basically copied the previous code I've written for the other project, that is the demo project, and I'm pasting it here. So here we have our main component, that's the page, and we have our the same states we had initially for the other page, just to set our loading to check whether the app is loading or not. And here we have our user info object. So here, since we are going to need to update user states, right, we also need to make sure that the current states we have, the current data we have, we also need to make sure that we are not overriding them. So except we want to change everything, so we have to create a state to actually populate it with. So I'm just going to explain about a bit more on that in a bit. I'm going to explain more on that, so I'm going to explain about that in a bit. So I'm going to explain that more in a bit. So here we have our router just to route our page, and the error message, even though we're no longer making use of this error message, but I just think let's just leave it there, but we're not making use of it anyways. So we have handle submit. What this actually does is it just makes requests or actually calls our upload data to Ceramic function that is in our utility file, right? So we've not actually created that. We're going to create that in a second, and we'll pass in our user info, right? So we're passing in the data we want to upload to Ceramic, right? So, and after that, when we get a response, we actually still populate the data back. So what actually happens is that you update the states, it makes a request again to get the recent or the most updated one, the just updated one, right? So it returns back that to you, and you also populate the user info with the updated one. So just like in the demo, I updated the country, and I showed you guys saw that it was updated in the screen. So how we're able to achieve that is to actually make a request again after updating to get these details back, and also update it on our interface. And after that, we're going to route the user to the profile page where they're going to be able to see the profile details. Anyways, states, couple of states toggle, set loading to false and set loading to false here again. So here we have a use effect, right, to set our user. So when our user wants to update their info, right, we have certain infos there already, and you want them to know what is already existing there, right? So you want them to know that the current country is Dubai or USA or London, or UK. Anyways, but you just want them to have an idea of what is already existing there, so that they know what they want to change. So for us to do that, whenever this page loads, this our sign up page loads, so we set user info, which is what we use to populate our form. We set it to whatever thing we have in our initial, the user we already created, user info we created in the previous file, that is in our utility file we created initially, so that we can access all these things. So here we're importing user info as user, since I already have another another state named user info here, so I'm importing user info as user. So here I'm just spreading the user object whenever I load this page. So what that does is it just gets the data from our user info object and populates the form with it. Anyways, our HTML part of the whole stuff is just nothing too serious here. So it's just a form that, you guys remember when I was telling you about the edit mode? So I use the edit mode to toggle this state. So if you're updating, if you're like editing changes, so you get this text updates once, use everywhere. But if you're creating your account for the first time, you get this one. So just basic state management and state toggling, sorry. And here we have loading for our button too, right, to show that you're updating and to also show updates or sign up. Anyways, back to, or now over to the main thing. So here, if you open this application, if you run this application, you get a couple of errors, and that's okay, because we've not actually created this file inside we have not actually created these functions inside our utility file. So we're going to go ahead and do that in just a second. Just want to be sure that we are done with everything UI, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and actually just open this. See, we have error here. We have user info. Just starting from get profile from ceramic from utility file, and our utility file at the moment is very much empty. There's nothing here, so we're going to just spend a little bit of time in this utility file. Right now, what we're going to do is to import all the necessary packages we need for our application. So we installed them earlier. Here we're going to import them and start making use of them. So after our importation, we're going to need to create a ceramic client, right? So this will enable us to talk to ceramic network, and we're going to pass in an endpoint, right? This endpoint points to the testnet. You can choose to use the mainnet, devnet, or even spin your own node and pass in the endpoint here. But for this project, we're going to be using the testnet. And after we've created our ceramic client, we need a data model, how we need to define our data structure and how we want to pass in and retrieve data from ceramic network. So to do that, I'm going to paste in this code and then explain what it does. So this gets a little bit tricky, but don't worry, I'm going to put a link in the description that is going to tell you how this particular section of the code works, and also where you can get this URIs. So but basically just know that this is a data structure that is, the schema is already defined in ceramic network, and these are references to it, right? And we're going to need this model, this reference to this model for our next thing, which is our DID store. So the DID store serves like a hub, so it takes our ceramic clients that we've created and also takes the model that we just created now, which basically returns an entity or a hub that we can then talk to and listen to, basically, right? We can read information from it, and we can also send some things to it. And after we've done that, we need to actually authenticate, right, to be able to now get our DID, and then with the DID we can actually request data from that particular DID or also send data, right? And to do that, I'm just going to go ahead and paste in this piece of code and explain what it does in a second. So here we have an asynchronous function authenticates with Ethereum and is accepting Ethereum provider as the parameter. So this Ethereum provider is going to be our MetaMask, and first we are going to access the account at the index of 0, just trying to return the current account, right? So this is going to ask us to connect to the application and also return the account that is connected. So we're going to access it with the index of 0, and we're going to pass both the Ethereum provider, which is our MetaMask object, and also the account that just got returned into this Ethereum auth provider, right? And this auth provider, we're getting it from one of the packages we installed earlier. So we're going to go ahead and take the auth provider and pass into our DID session, and our DID session is going to go ahead and give us, these are the points where we're interacting with ceramic. So it's going to go ahead and give us a new session. So we also need to authorize that session, and the result of that session being authorized is our DID. So we're going to now pass the DID into, we're going to first of all, we're assigning the DID inside our ceramic with the new DID that just got returned. So this is going to give us our DID with associated details. So here we also have the catch block that just checks if there is an error, and if there's an error, we'll log the error to the console for now. Now we are done with the authentication function. We're going to write something more like a helper function just to check if there is an Ethereum account existing before running the authentication. I also want to let the user know that they don't have one, and they should. So we're just going to change this message to please install MetaMask, and that's it. This is just a very simple function just to check if window.hrm exists, and if it doesn't exist, if it's not existing, then we'll have to tell them to install, else we run this authenticate function. And next we are going to go ahead and do the first the first form part of it, right? So we're going to go ahead and read the data from Ceramic. So here I'm going to paste this function. Here we have an async function as well, and we're going to name it get profile from Ceramic. You can basically name it anything, and first thing we want to do is to obviously have it in a try and catch block. And here we have we're going to wait for the authentication. So this authentication is going to first of all run this code, check if there's a MetaMask installed. If there is, then it goes ahead to run this particular one, the main authentication, right? And when this is done with no error, it's going to go ahead and try to get our DID, the details associated with our DID. So by default, it's going to get the DID of the address in the session already, right? In the store already, right? So, but you can also pass in another DID here to get the details. But now we don't need to do that. We're going to just get our own, which is the one that is already authenticated, right? So it's going to go ahead and get that for us. So what we just need to do for that to work, for that piece of magic to work, is just call this data store, which we already created at the top. You know, when you guys know when we created our data store here, which is what I told you guys that we're going to use to talk to and also listen to the Ceramic blockchain for our data. Here we're going to do data.get basic profile. Basic profile is we're passing in the data structure, like what we actually want to get from the data model, what we actually want, how we want to get our data from Ceramic, and it's going to by default use our authenticated address or authenticated ID to get this data for us. And here we're going to, if you log this profile, you're going to see an object of the details you already updated. If there's nothing there, it's going to actually return null or undefined. So here we're going to pass the I'm going to update my user info objects with all this information that I just got. But if you notice, currently we don't have the user info objects here, so I'm just going to go ahead and bring that in. So I'm just going to leave it at the top, so it's more like top header. There's no specific reason for this, but I just like to leave it at the top here. So here we'll have our name, country, avatar, and row, right? Just like we had it on our demo. So what this does is after it gets our profile, it goes ahead to populate the data to our user, right? So the name is now equals to whatever name is getting from this profile, and also this, like the same thing with the info, the same thing with the country, and the same thing with the row and avatar. Then the next thing we need to do after reading is obviously we also need to be able to update data, basically upload to Ceramic. So for that, I'm just going to do let me go ahead and copy that, right? Let me go ahead and copy that paste here, so work through it as well. So here we have an async function as well. So send data to Ceramic. We're just going to pass in what the data we're trying to send, so the user info. We're going to first of all get the current data from Ceramic, right? So we're going to wait for that and get the current data from Ceramic. Then when we get this data, you know what happens in this function is that it actually calls this function and does everything in this function. It updates the data as well, and when it does that, we are now going to use datastore.merge to get the data. We're using datastore.get here to upload or update. We are using datastore.merge. You can also use datastore.set, but what happens with set is that set is going to replace the entire field. Even let's say you just want to change your country, right? You move to a different country and you want to change your country, and you're using .set. So set is going to change both the name and since the name field is empty, it's going to make the name to be empty. But what .merge does is that it takes what is existing, right, and it just updates only the field that needs to be updated, the field that has new updates, right? So you just merge it with the same data model we already have, and the details we want to update, right? So our name will have user info.name, right? So this user info, you guys are now seeing the reason why I have this user info as a global object, so I can easily make use of it. And I'm making use of it multiple times here, and also 2 pages outside of this utility file. So here we're going to update this name, country, user info, avatar, right? And after that, we're going to also get the updated one. So we're just going to do datastore.get, and what this is going to do is that it's going to get the just updated information. It's going to also return profile, right? It's going to return profile. And now when we go back to where we are calling this function inside our sign up.jsx, right, we are going to see let's go ahead and just paste it in. Sorry, let me close this one. So I guess, okay, yes, the name was changed, so I'm going to update the name here as well. So send data to Ceramic, right? Makes more sense instead of upload data to Ceramic. So here we have send data to Ceramic, and we're passing in the user info, and we're actually waiting for this here, because when we get it, we also want to be able to update it, right? Whatever it returns, we want to be able to update the user info, and after that to send the user to the profile page where they can be able to see their new updated info and set out the info. All these are just the rest of the things here are front-end related stuff, conditional rendering and all this other stuff. Well, anyways, now it's time to actually, we're done with writing all the functions we need. We're going to actually test our code. Currently the code is not going to run, and I'm going to explain why in a bit. So we are using Next.js, so there's something else we need to do to get our code to run, but let me just go ahead and show you guys what the current issue we'll be facing. So as you can see here, we have get profile from Ceramic. Okay, let's update that. This is not related to what I wanted to talk about, so let's go ahead and update that first before we know in our sign up the JS here, send it to Ceramic. So I'm going to go ahead and update that here as well. So now if we go here and reload, let's start our, okay, get profile from Ceramic, get profile from Ceramic utility. Let's also see that fix it can't resolve inside our index.js. Get profile from Ceramic. Why did we change the name? Did we update anything? So we're going to go into our utility file to check our get data, get profile from Ceramic. Okay, and is exported. So let's just verify. Set our index. Was it our index? Let's check again. So we're getting this error inside our index.js 4. Get profile from Ceramic. Now index. Why is it not able to resolve? Let's take a look at it again. Util did utils. Oh, okay. Here we have util instead of util. Oh, I think we should update that to utils anyway, because it's not just one utility function that we need. So let's also, I think it should also be the same thing across other places we're importing utils. So yeah, here we have utils. So that should fix that. And now I can't resolve key did provider. Okay, we also need to install this, very important. I think I missed that. So we're going to go ahead and install let's open our terminal to go ahead and install this. Close this up and do npm install key did provider. Wait for that to load. We are also going to need to install this other package, the resolver. Sorry, I missed this during the installation phase. So we're going to do npm install key did resolver, and we're going to allow that to install. And after that, we are then going to let's run our project again. Npm run dev and see how we get this time around. Let's reload the page. All right, let's test this and see. You have, since everything is working, well, I'm expecting an error anyways. Don't know why it's not showing up, but let's go ahead and run that and see. So here it asks us to sign in. Wait, let's check something just to be sure. Still the same endpoint. Yeah, so our local hosts. So within So let's go ahead and test this out. So let's just refresh to make sure everything's correct. So expecting any error, but we're going to fix that. So now you're going to notice that we are, because we've signed in, we've connected to this wallet. You know what, let me just go ahead and disconnect so we can see the flow from beginning to the end. So here we're going to click on sign in with Ethereum, and it's going to ask us to connect like we did the first time, and it's going to ask us to sign, right? So once we sign this, it's going to actually try to fetch data. Now, because why is it here, router not dot push not defined? So we also need to define our routers, and this is the index. This is the index. So here we're going to do const router is equal to use router. So we're also going to check for other places where we are using router. So it's already defined here in the profile, and I also think we're making use of router here, so we've already defined it here. So let's go back again to our application, reload, sign in with Ethereum, and click on sign in. And now we have oh my goodness, so we also forgot to install SAS, because as you notice, some of my CSS file here are using SCSS, so I'm going to just go ahead and install that. Sorry about that, I missed that. So let's just go do npm install SAS. Let's just make sure it's the same. Yeah, let's install that, wait for that to load, and then just going to wait for that to load. And there we have it. So we're now going to start up our local server again, so our local host again. So let's check. Okay, so we're going to go back and start the process all over again. So there are also different ways you can manage your states. I have something in our, sorry, cancel. Let's just sign this message. There are also different ways you can manage your states, to persist the states, to save somewhere, or you can also request this data as soon as someone reload this page. So currently, if I reload this page, this is entirely dependent on the front end, and I can simply do that by getting the profiles, right? Just get the profile and populate it here, but I just don't think it's necessary for now, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave that. You can also implement that in your own version of the project. Like you saw it, we had our details. I'm going to go ahead and do sign in again. It's going to pull our details. So remember when we signed up initially during the demo, I entered these details, right? So we are also going to be able to edit, and now we have edit mode. Oh, okay, so one more thing we missed in our utility file is the edit. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy that to here. We have it, edit mode. Just same way we have our user info, so we just access it anywhere we need to access it. And if we go back to our application, we can just go back to the initial state and sign in again. Click confirm. Now we want to edit. Let's edit, change. Okay, so a syntax error. We'll have sign up instead of sign up. So I'm just going to go ahead and just rename this instead of changing from the code. Let's change this to sign up, the small u. Scared for a little bit. Anyways, we'll go back to, let's go back to our browser. Yeah, here we have our sign up page. Anyways, we can update this. Currently it's not showing the existing name, probably because we just reloaded, right? So we just reloaded, it has not gotten our data yet. So what we want to do is to, I'll probably implement this in a later version just to get this data and populate them in case the page refreshes or reload this, so we don't have to start going to the start of the screen and start basically making this request from here. So we can just pull it from any screen where we are I think that would be better. Anyways, so here we can also click on edit, and it should get these details now. So here we have the current details. We have my name to be Joshua. Let's go ahead and change this to Judy, and also change our country to Dubai, and our role, let's make it more developer relation engineer. And I'm going to leave the avatar the way it is. I'm going to click update. So I need to also sign this transaction, sign this, and then wait for it to update. Wait for it to update, and let's give it some more time. It depends on your network. And here we have it. We have our new updated details, and whatever application or wherever any Web3 application that has implemented or integrated Ceramic into their flow. So if you're asked to sign in with Ethereum, as soon as you do that, it's going to pull in your data into the application the same way you have it here, right? So you don't need to set a different, have different information, different places. And the good thing about this, one of the good things is that it's decentralized. You can access it anytime. And with tools like this, the decentralized identity management system we just built now, you can basically update your info anytime you want. Pretty much you're in control of your data, right? So I think this is a very, very important piece in the Web3 space right now. And I think it's going to basically improve user experience, both for the users and for developers, also developer experience as well. All right, so guys, I hope you learned something in this video. I'll be expecting your questions. If you have any question, please do drop them in the comment section below. I'm going to attach as much link as possible to help you guys learn more about ceramics and also about decentralized identity. And with that, this is Judy signing off from Duty. Peace.